Kentucky congressman to throw some bombs. Thomas Massie, sir, we agree on a lot, not all everything, and Iran we'll get to in a sec, but I got an idea. Why don't we get this slush fund, we get this out there, and do you have anybody or any knowledge of anybody that's currently on that that's paid money on behalf of this fund?
I do not, but I'll tell you when I exposed the existence of this fund, it was several years ago, and the Democrats, by the way, they're being total hypocrites on the vote on this slush fund. The Democrats, in a hearing, were trying to rake Donald Trump over the coals for a payment to Stormy Daniels that he didn't disclose on a campaign expense report. But that's not even a legitimate thing to put as a campaign expense. But they were trying to convict him of these trumped-up charges, and it was because of non-disclosure of this payment to Stormy Daniels. And that's when I blew the whistle on this $17 million fund. And my hat's off to Nancy Mace for getting this done. I co-sponsored this with her to bring it to the floor. You got to believe, Carl, these guys did not want to take that vote. So they're mad at Nancy Mace and me and some other folks who forced this vote to happen. Yeah. And they're on the record now. If they don't like the way the bill was written, it's just like the Epstein files. When I pushed that through, everybody said, oh, it's not perfect. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. And I told them, if you don't like the way it's written, put your own bill on the floor. And none of them would. Nope. And they have no intention of resurrecting this thing out of the Ethics Committee.
Congressman, it's interesting. When you mentioned that, I actually had you on to discuss that exact payment problem and the Congressional slush fund. It was in June of 2024 is when we did that. The other issue here is you brought up Epstein, and a viewer actually wrote me this email, and I was like, this totally just dawned on me when she sent me this email that said Trump should actually make a special appointment to a Democrat to handle the Epstein files and have only the scope of authority within that very narrow thing, and then just offload it to the Democrats. Is that something you think you might support?
If the president would support it, I would support it. Look, we're not getting the answers we need from Pam Bondi, and she might be happy to offload this to somebody else as well, because I just spent 3 hours at the DOJ this week looking on the computers at the unredacted files, and I'm finding evidence of files that they haven't released yet. And I'm going to be over there and keep digging on that. But, we got them to release 3 million files. There's still a lot more they need to get out.
It's so shocking to me when they keep telling us they're all out. Todd Blanche came out, Pam Bondi came, and they're not. Just like, don't lie to me. Like, I don't like being lied to. That's why Republicans are probably going to lose the House. Here's the other thing I got, a little bit of a bone to pick with you, sir. Iran. Now that we're in it, okay, I realize you're against it. I'm not wild about going to war or things like this if we don't have to. But now that we're in it, do you think it's a good idea to finish the campaign because it would risk Iran falling back to the same people we just tried to get out of there?
Well, look, I think what Congress owes our members in the military is a full debate and a list of objectives and goals in this mission so that when we do reach those goals, when our brave men and women accomplish those things, they can come home and we don't end up in a quagmire like we had in Iraq and like we had in Afghanistan. And by the way, the taxpayers also deserve an answer because they're going to see the price of gasoline and groceries go up because of this. And that's just all I'm asking Congress. That's all I asked them to do today was to debate this and authorize it and give it a scope and some mission, so that we can, when the soldiers are done, they can come home and it doesn't drag on forever.
Look, I've been a big supporter. When I was over, I went to Iraq 3 or 4 times and 2 full combat deployments over there. And that was my biggest thing. But the problem, too, is the armchair quarterbacking once we're in it. Do you agree now, at least, will you give some credit to the guys on the ground that they should probably just finish the immediate campaign before we start meddling in anything?
Well, they're doing a great job taking out, the tactical assets of Iran and their ability to even defend themselves. I've got no doubt that we can level Iran if we put our mind to it. The question is, what comes next? And you're right about this, Carl. Once you declare war, once Congress authorizes it, it's up to the president to execute the war, to wage the war. And Congress at that point does need to take their hands off. You can't say, oh, you shouldn't have moved these troops there, you shouldn't have attacked that. All we are obligated to do under the Constitution is give that authorization. And then once we've authorized it, we do need to give members of our military the tools they need to accomplish the job.
Well, I just hope that we get a less armchair quarterbacking, at least for the immediate future, so our guys can kill bad guys, and then we come back to the drawing board. And I'm with you. I'm not for nation building or arming random people that we don't know. Congressman Thomas Massie, stay on this slush fund, man. We'll have you back.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.